In this video, I am going to explain how can you change the font and the font size of the text in your web page using CSS. But before going into that, let's learn some points about the CSS font families. Now in CSS, there are two types of font family names. One is the generic family and another one is the font family. Font family specifies simply the font name, just like Times New Roman or Arial here. But the generic family consists of some common font names which provide the similar look. As you can see from the table, there are three generic family: serif, sans serif and monospace. The serif fonts have the small lines at the end of some characters. As you can see, T, M, then N, R, all have some small lines at the end. Georgia is also belongs to the serif generic family. So these two fonts have the similar look. So they are grouped together in a generic family called serif. Now for the sans serif, there is no such small lines at the end of the characters. Like Arial, Verdana, they provide the same look. So they all belong to the same generic family called sans serif. And then there is monospace like Courier, New, Lucida, Console, etc. In this monospace generic family, all the characters have the same width. So they also provide some similar look. So they are grouped together in the generic family called monospace. So then when we are providing the font family names using CSS, we have to keep in mind this generic family as well as the font families belong to them. So now let's move on to the coding part then. Now, if you want to change the font of the entire web page, that means all the text of your web page looks like the same. So you can provide the CSS property font family under the body element. So I am going to change the font of my entire web page. To change the font of the entire web page, you have to use the CSS property font family. Now whenever you use the property font family, it is recommended that you provide a list of the fonts of the same generic family. So if the browser does not support the first one, it can pick the second one and then so on. And you ends it with the generic family name. So if all the fonts listed here are not supported by the browser, then it can pick the similar look font from that generic family. Suppose, so first one, you should provide the very first font you want to see in your web page, that the font you like, that is your first preference. So if I want to see Arial as my font for the entire web page, I am providing Arial. Then from the same generic family, I am providing the second font name, that is Verdana. In that case, if Arial is not supported by the browser, then it will pick Verdana. And then I am ending it with their generic family name. That means if browser does not support Arial as well as Verdana, then it can pick any font from this generic family. So let's see what is the output first. So the font changes to Arial. Now if you are providing a font name having more than one word, then you have to provide it under double quotes, such as the monospace was Courier New and then there was Lucida Console. I am giving the monospace font to this my main heading, that is cybercrime. So my entire body text was changed. Now I want to specifically change this heading. So under the class of main heading which points to the H1, I am providing the font family, and I want to give it some font from the monospace generic family. So my preference is Courier New. So as it contains two words, I have to provide it inside double quote. So Courier New. I am also providing Lucida console here if Courier New is not supported by my browser. So Lucida console is also there as the second support, and at last I am providing the generic family as monospace. So if does not support Courier New or Lucida console, the browser can pick any font from the monospace generic family. So save it and check the output. So you can see my font just changes to Cybercrime because Courier New is supported by my browser. So it takes the Courier New. So in this way you can change the font of any element inside your web page using this font family attribute, the property. Now if you want to change the font size, the property is very similar as in the Microsoft Word, that is font size itself. So if I want to change the font size of my main heading, although it is provided under H1 and H1 itself supports some size, but I want to change its size to more. Suppose I want to change it to the size 36 pixel. So I can simply write 36 px. So let's see what happens. So its size increase somewhat. So let's make it a little bigger, say 50 pixel, because this is my main heading. So this is 50 pixel size. Now if you want to change the size of all these headings, all those subheadings, those were specified by H3, you can provide the font size property here, and then you can provide the size, let's say 32 pixel. So see the output. So this is the 32 pixel. So in this way you can use the font family and font size to change the font and the font size also.